Good morning and welcome to GrainTV.
Good afternoon and welcome to GrainTV.
Good afternoon, welcome to GrainTV.
USDA.
Cody, what's your favorite number out of this morning's barrage of data?
Yeah, I'd say that the planting acreage, in particular corn. Good morning and welcome to GrainTV. Today is October 11th and it's one trading day before the USDA comes out with their supply and demand estimates, which will almost certainly drive prices in one direction or the other. Of course, USDA is getting increasingly more difficult to predict, so it will be an interesting day tomorrow. If you're a producer out there, try to protect yourself for the downside. The Dow was up 300 points yesterday, but traders today seem a bit skeptical as Jean-Claude Trichet comes out and says the European debt risks are systemic and that there is an increasing threat to the global economy. Brock, what are we seeing today? Can you give us an opening call?
Yeah, basically for corn, we're looking at it to be up about 2 to 4, soybeans up 8 to 11, and wheat up 2 to 5, kind of following what we did in the overnight. And I kind of anticipate today to be, a case of position evening, some profit taking, basically some uncertainty before this report coming out tomorrow. Traders are trying to take some of the risk off the table, perhaps, and basically it's just going to be a low volume and choppy trade today for corn. What do you think is going to happen in soybeans today, Cody?
Well, I think there's a good chance you get a little bit of a technical rally. It's come off over $3, but then again, I would be very skeptical of any sort of rallies today. I would agree with you 100%. Low volume, choppy trade, position evening. That's the theme of today. You got to be nimble in these environments. You really don't want to overcommit, and you certainly don't want to guess which way the USDA is going to go on these reports. So if you're a producer out there, protect yourself from the downside, because that really is where the risk is right now.
Yeah, a whole lot of information is going to be coming out tomorrow. We have crop progress, we have the USDA supply and demand, and we also have the ending stocks report coming out as well. So we're looking at a lot of information for the markets to digest tomorrow. And it looks like the early indications are that corn is going to be revised upwards. That's what the analysts are anticipating right now, about a 6/10 of a bushel per acre revision upwards for corn. Soybeans looks like they're going to stay about where they left it in September. But really, what's going to be the big wild card here is going to be the harvested acres. What are they going to end up publishing for harvested acres? Is it going to be revised quite a bit lower? In that case, we might see a little bit of a bullish scenario in corn, but in all indications, the early thoughts are that corn is going to be quite a bit bearish tomorrow.
Yeah, well, you're mentioning that yield and harvested acres could be affected. I'm thinking that there's a possibility that demand could be affected. Or that they revised demand. I know in September they revised their demand estimates down significantly, and that's when prices were very high. Corn is off $1.75 now, beans off $3. If that doesn't drive a little bit more demand, I don't know what will. I would look for possibly some revisions in the demand side of the estimate, and that would definitely affect the ending stocks, and that will, of course, lead to some direction of price movement.
Right, we've seen a lot of good margins come back into especially livestock industry, ethanol industry. Those margins have increased quite a bit since the downturn in the corn market in the last couple months or so. So I'm looking for that to, probably get that uptick you're looking for in the demand side of the equation.
Yeah. Now, what do you see in terms of ending stocks, Brock?
Yeah, basically we're looking for corn to be revised upwards by about 120 million bushels for next year. Soybeans up about 16 million bushels. But wheat looks like it's going to be revised a little bit lower. We had a pretty poor hard red spring wheat production this year, so we're looking for the ending stocks there to be revised a little bit lower. Basically we're having a better carry-in than we did last year, so I'm looking for that to be the contributing factor for next year's ending stocks to be quite a bit higher. So,
all right, well, that sounds fair enough. We're going to take a quick commercial, and when we're back, we'll watch the market open. Welcome back to GrainTV. The markets are about 15 minutes into the trade. Brock, what are you seeing?
Yeah, it looks like corn's up quite a bit stronger than what we had anticipated this morning, up about 8 3/4. Soybeans is up 19 1/4. Wheat is up 8 1/4. Kansas City is actually up 10 as well. So we're seeing some of that, profit-taking position even actually drive the markets a little bit higher this morning, maybe following the Dow. I'm not quite sure what's going on in the equities this morning, but as a result of yesterday, we probably are following the Dow just a little bit.
Yeah, I would once again, let's be a little bit skeptical. Let's be a little bit cynical on these early rallies in the day. We got a whole trading day left to go, and I'd be nervous to see these as any reason to really get long or short before this USDA report comes out. Let's see what they have to say, and let's address that later on.
Yep. Pay attention to the close. Let's check out the volume before the end of the day. And that's the biggest thing to look for today is the close and the volume.
Yeah, for sure. Now let's take a quick look. I want to look at the charting landscape. If this report comes out and it surprises the market, what are the kind of the waypoints or the checkpoints as we move lower or move higher? And that's what I'm going to highlight right now. Corn. We have some resistance levels around 620. We also have some resistance up around 663. 663 is about that low of that little trading range that we had in July, really when heat and all of that was going on during pollination. When it comes to support levels, if this report comes out and it is significantly bearish, what are the checkpoints on the way down? Well, we're looking at 575. This is a low back in June. Not March, excuse me, June at 575. I think that area could easily be taken out. The next stop here is 550, a low that we saw back in March of 2011. So 550 is the next waypoint, and then if we break through that, where do we go? Well, probably back to $485. But I'm not anticipating that. I think that's a little bit strong. I certainly wouldn't expect us to go down there. But I think there's a good chance that if this is a little bit bearish report, that we definitely break that 575 level.
Yeah, I think all of the indications are that we are going to be a little bit bearish tomorrow. I think we will go down back to that 550 level, at least in the near term. And then we'll eventually see demand start to pick up again, like we have in the exports in the last couple of weeks. Maybe drive that market back a little bit higher after that.
All right, well, let's take a quick look at soybeans. Soybeans, a little bit different story. It's in la-la land right now. It sold off $3 and it sold off hard. I mean, every single day, down, down, down. And now we get a little bit of a rally, and this morning is looking pretty good for it. If we come out, if we have a little bit bearish of a report, there's a good chance that we could move through the lows that we've just printed and back down to $11 support. I think that's a big whole number. It should offer a significant amount of support down there if we have a reason to go down. That's my thoughts. As far as resistance, 1238 and then 1287 is the bottom side of that channel that we traded in for such a long period of time over the last year.
Yeah, basically what I'm looking at is support at 11.25. Very near support at 11.25. $11 is the big number I think I would be looking at. And then if we do get below there, look out below because 10.30 is about the next place we're going to be stopping. So
yeah, of course, we're gonna need to really see a very bearish report to get us down there. So of course we'll be following that report very closely tomorrow. We're gonna have a special show. We don't normally do one on Wednesday. Of course, this is an important time for all producers, so we will have one. Tune in. We'll analyze it. We'll break it down for you, and we'll let you know what's happening in the markets as it's unfolding. So stay tuned there, and we'll see you tomorrow.